Hey everybody, welcome back to Gooseberry Homestead. Reba here. Well, as you guys can see by this lineup of figs, I have quite the collection going on. So my goal here, there's a few things to it. My goal here is to find out which varieties here will survive the winters unprotected, one, and two, also be very, very prolific. But I also have some little subcategories for some of the figs in my collection, because part of my collection is obtaining figs from Northern California. And thus far, of the figs I have collected from the regions of Northern California that are coming directly out of Northern California are coming from the collection of Sacred Origin, and I do have only one so far from the Fig Hunter. And I believe those are the two main people out of Northern California right now that are collecting figs from that region. And I grew up in that region. And so I find the figs from that region very dear and near to my heart. So I'm planning on collecting as many of those varieties as I can, because the grow zone that I am in Olympian area of Northern Pacific area, or Pacific Northwest, I guess I should say. It's kind of similar, but not. And not in the fact that we don't get the heat like they do in the Redding, Red Bluff, Corning, Chico areas and the northern regions of California. And so, yeah, I am very, very excited for finding out whether or not some of these are actually common, because they haven't been grown out properly by everybody yet to be able to tell whether or not they are common or not. I believe it has been told that the honey plum is in fact a common one, but as for rodgrod, that's still to be determined. And as for the other ones, I'm not quite sure either. So a lot of these cuttings were all just collected in the last year or two. And so the large part of the fig community has not grown these out to like full fruiting production. You know what I'm saying? So it's really kind of hard to tell whether or not they will do good in regions where you don't have the fig wasp, which is really great for me because I'm in an area where I don't have the fig wasp. So it'll be really telling to find out how these perform here as well in a different climate. And so a lot of people are trying them out across the United States in different regions and different climates with and without the fig wasp, just to see how well they adapt and do. So in this area here, I have obtained 4 from Sacred Origins collection so far. And out of her collection, I did notice on Fig Database that the Fig Hunter's name is included in there, which was kind of interesting because they're both offering fig cuttings from the same general region, kind of. The Fig Hunter is, I believe, out of Red Bluff, and Sacred Origins is out of Redding. So they're really, really closely connected in the region that they are finding these new fig seedlings and everything out of. So it's going to be really interesting to see how all of them compare. And I only have one from the Fig Hunter so far, and that would be the Sisters fig that I picked up because I love the color magenta, and I just saw that it had this beautiful pink little closed eye, and it was kind of pink and looked like a little flower, and I just loved that. So I was immediately drawn to it for its color factor, but also for the fact that it came off of the Diamond Ranch. How exciting is that? It was such a huge ranch in Northern California. When I was growing up, I would go to the all the fairs in Red Bluff, the fairs that they would have every year, and they would always talk about the Diamond Ranch at the fair. And so I grew up on a farm in Northern California, so I've been around a lot of the community, a lot of figs, you guys, a lot of fig eating. And so figs are very near and dear to my heart, and especially those that are coming out of Northern California. So I'm super duper excited to grow them side by side here in the Pacific Northwest, and also be giving you guys updates and fig eating, taste testing goodness. I cannot wait. So let me just tell you exactly which ones I have now that I've been rambling on for a good 5 minutes. I do have over here that I got cuttings of. I got cuttings of honey plum and rodgrod this year. And of those two, I have successfully rooted a few of them. I was even able to cut some of them in half and get a couple more trees out of them, of which I will be trading with. I'm not planning on selling any of them. And so I have one little rodgrod right here. And as you can tell, its leaf pattern is different than the honey plum, which is right here. And the honey plum actually kind of reminds me of a Black Mission. And being that I grew up in that area, Black Mission was a very common fig that most people planted in and around their orchards. And my grandfather had one really close to all of his berry patches and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's really, really cool. Like, you know, well, his berry patch was like blackberries and raspberries and that sort of thing, but everybody's berry patches are different. But yeah, so I have this one here, and so honey plum, but I'm really liking how this one is growing, so I'm thinking I'm gonna probably end up keeping this one because it's growing so vigorously. And the other ones will catch up. They will grow good too, but I'm thinking this is going to be the one I end up keeping. And I'm glad I didn't like just get rid of them, you know, as soon as they were big enough, because I know a lot of times people will grow things from cuttings and then they'll instantly just sell their stuff off, and then they might or might not end up with the one in their collection that they thought was going to grow well but didn't grow as well. And so I think it's really important that you keep your fig cuttings that you're rooting for just a little bit, especially if you have duplicates, so that you can see how well they're going to be comparing to one another, at least for 1 to 2 grow seasons, because you never know, you might end up wanting that one that you got rid of. And maybe the one that you thought you were going to keep ends up being one that you maybe should have gotten rid of. But hopefully that made sense. Anyway, so these are the ones I have over here. So only a few. It looks like I got 3 honey plums here, 1 rodgrod here, but I do have rodgrod over here too. I have this one right here, which is doing really good as well. And then I do have a couple that are off to the side. Let's go see how those ones are doing actually. These, I have a couple over here that I left in the shade, and these are, I'm trading with somebody on ourfigs.com. So I have a honey plum for him and a rodgrod, although I may end up trading them out for some that are growing better. And then these ones are some cuttings that are growing from the Madeira Island Black. So yes. Then over here I have some of the varieties that I obtained from Mike, who's working with Sacred Origins. And I can't remember if I got the cuttings from Mike too. I'll have to go back and look at FigBid and see if I got those from him. But I got Igo's Blackberry. I really, really wanted the cherry one from him, I think. I don't think it was Cherry Cordial. I think it was the other one. Was it Jolly Rancher? Wait, I think I'm getting them confused with the Fig Hunters listings. And go check them out. There's quite a few. There's the Fig Hunter and Sacred Origins, and I think Mike out of Connecticut. I can't remember his the One Fig Man or something like that. I can't remember. The One Fig Man, he's working with Sacred Origins, and then the Fig Hunter, he's also got a lot of really great different figs also from Northern California. So right here I've got Igo's Blackberry and Gambino, which I got from Mike. And I can't remember though if I got the cuttings from Mike also, or if I got those directly from Sacred Origins. I'm thinking I got them from Sacred. I'm going to have to go back and look. But anyways, it doesn't matter. They all came from Sacred Origins originally. And then she obtained her cuttings from trees somehow. So there's that. So anyways, Igos, Berry, and Gambino. So those ones are doing really good. I actually got a little fig on Gambino here. I've been pinching off the other ones because I don't think we're gonna it's gonna come to fruition, but I wanted to let one hang on. So I'm leaving that one because it's swelled the most and gotten the biggest. So I'm gonna leave that one. And then oddly enough, I've got the two sisters back here, and those ones rooted quite nicely. So I cannot wait, you guys, for those to get bigger. It does look like maybe they're trying to push out some figlets here on the branch right there. So I don't think I'm going to let it fruit though, because it's just too late in the season. And yeah, because we're at the beginning of September now and they won't have time to fruit. So I'm going to probably pinch those. But I grew these ones from seed this year as well. So yeah, so I can't wait to trade with other people and to get more cuttings. I think the rest of them from all of the, I'll be doing my own cuttings. So I'll be obtaining the cuttings possibly and or trading. So that's how everything is looking. I did want to check some of the figs just to see if any of them are ripe. My Ronde de Bordeaux is not getting as dark. It is starting to change color now though. So that is really cool. Hopefully you can see that. And it's starting to get a little bit soft. So I'm thinking in the next week or so, it should be close. It's getting soft and it's changing color. That is so awesome. I was worried that maybe this free fig tree that somebody gifted me was might not have been true, but it is swelling and it is changing. That is awesome. So probably within the next week or so, I should be having some figs on here. Now the birds and stuff haven't found my fig trees yet. It took them 2 years, almost 3 years for them to find all my my blueberries. So this year the birds found my blueberries. So and I think a squirrel found a peach. So they could smell it really good. It got the one that had the little dot on it. And what is this one? We've got a little fig forming on here. I think this is the Olympian. And also I really like getting fig trees from around here too. The Olympian, I think I got the Desert King as well. So yeah, I really want to focus in on fig trees that are going to do really well in this region. So if they don't survive in my region, I'm not going to probably end up growing them because I really don't want to have to protect them. But it's okay to have a couple, I think, that could go in a greenhouse and live in a greenhouse in a big pot. But for the most part, I really don't want to have to babysit the figs too much. So since I'm in a grow zone 8A, 8B, sometimes it will dip down to close to like a 7. I'm wanting to say 7A. That one, or a 7B. I can't remember how it works. But anyways, sometimes it can get to almost into the 7s. And so in the winter time. But yeah, it's oddly warm today. We're having a really warm fall so far, and I'm not complaining. It is quite nice, especially since our spring was so cool and the summer got a very slow start. And finally, my little tomatoes here are getting a little bit bigger. But yeah, everything's looking really good. I just thought I would jump on here and just kind of talk about these kind of our up and coming varieties out of Northern California, and a lot of them are touted to be seedlings that are being found, trees that are been producing fruit. And I think it's kind of hard to determine whether or not something is actually seedling versus something that was maybe planted. Because there's a lot of ranches and things where up in Northern California, and it's highly possible that somebody might have planted something out in a field where you wouldn't think would be there, but it's possible, because ranchers plant things in really weird places. And being that I come from Northern California, I've been known to plant things in weird places too. So you wouldn't think, oh, why is that there? You know? But anyways, yeah. Since the fig wasp is in Northern California, it's very, very highly probable that anything could have eaten something and transplanted, not just birds, but wildlife likes to eat a lot of stuff in Northern California as well. I have found, bears, they eat things, and there are bears in California, believe it or not. I'm sure coyotes and wildcats and that sort of thing also probably eat fruit if they can get to it. And so it's not just birds that will like transplant things. So anyways, you guys, thanks for coming along today, seeing about which figs I'm growing from the Northern California region so far in the Pacific Northwest. Stay tuned to this channel for sure. I plan to try to get every single one of the fig cuttings from Sacred Origins and that of the Fig Hunter, and would love to be able to compare all the different varieties out of Northern California and just kind of see how well they do in the Pacific Northwest. And I have high hopes, very, very high hopes. Also, those ones that I got from my niece come from Northern California. And the more I analyze her trees, now she is out of kind of the same area, and I got those fig trees over here, and I noticed that one of my figs kind of looks a little similar to one of Sacred Origins little figs, but it might not be the same fig. It could also be a seedling, possibly. The fig wasp is in the area where my niece lives, and I noticed that the leaves on these trees don't match the mother tree. And I know that all the cuttings that my niece sent me came from the base of her tree, which very well could definitely be a new seedling from that tree, because the fig wasp is there. So it's very, very probable that these little babies right in here are completely their own things. I am noticing leaf shapes on these figs that vary so much, like this one here. And I've got, in this pot, I have 5 cuttings. Now, that's not ideal, but it is what I'm doing right now because I have so many figs in my yard already, and we are planning on moving. So I didn't want I don't want to have to move a ton of stuff. So one day we will be moving. I probably will end up moving these all into their own pots eventually, and probably sooner than later, but I was hoping not to. But look at this leaf, you guys. It's all wavy all the way down. And then this one, look how beautiful. Look how beautiful that leaf is. So unique, so different. And they just look like little gemstones, like just cut. Just random little gemstones. And that was all from this one right here. And then the leaf patterns are kind of similar on them. This is a different one, very similar to that one, and very jagged looking. And then this one here, very similar still. But I mean, these all could end up being completely different fig trees. I was very, very taken back by it when my niece had sent me the fig cuttings, and then they all started producing all these different shaped leaves. And I was like, what? Because the main mother has big lobes, kind of like almost like a Celeste kind of. And then these ones look so different. I mean, check out this one. Off of this one here, we've got this leaf right here. And then we have this leaf here. But also on that one, look at, we've got this one with like long fingers. And then this one over here, some more long fingers, but not as many. And then this is another leaf on that. It's huge. But it doesn't look like the mother tree. And then none of them look like the mother tree, in fact. None of these look like the mother tree leaves. This one actually has some spade leaves on it. How odd. How odd is that? But some of the other ones don't have spade leaves on the other ones. So it's just super, super interesting to me. We got little seeds from the big tree out back. But they're so unique. I mean, look at this little leaf here. So I've got anywhere between 3 to 5 cuttings. I think this one has 4 cuttings in it. This one has 3. This one has 3. This one has another 5. So, I mean, that's how many that ended up. My niece had sent me originally about, I'm wanting to say, she sent me about 35. And then at one point, because of rot, I like cut them down and then popped them in the soil a little bit more, and I ended up with more. So I mean, it's really hard to say, but I know the fig gods were getting upset because I gave it a name, and I just kind of wanted to keep it separate from all my other fig trees. It wasn't like I was trying to give it a new name. It was just something for my own, in my own thing in my own backyard, because I don't want to just call it the fig from my niece. And I don't know if it is a new variety or not, but chances are very high that it is, because the fig wasp is there. And these were all collected from the base of a tree. And the leaves look way different from the surrounding. And it'll be interesting to see, because a lot of these cuttings actually had the long fingers on them when they arrived. So chances are the long fingers might be a tendency to happen with these, but they might be behaving differently because of where they're growing. They're growing in a completely different region. So things may perform completely different here than they do in Northern California. So that's another really great thing for growing them up here, just to see how they compare. And so I'm just super duper excited, you guys. Thank you for coming along, watching this video with me, and listening to me ramble on and yap and talk with you guys about what I am doing. And I think it's funny how when a guy rambles on, it's rambling on, but when a woman talks, it's yapping. Funny. Anyways, thanks for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. Click that bell button. And as always, have a wonderful one, and God bless. Bye.